What's up, you guys? Welcome back for another POV. If you're new here, my name is Marcus, and this is a special one. It's a GT63 AMG. Now, this car's been out for about a year, and this is actually a 2024 model. This one has a ton of mileage, at least for a press car. It's got about 15,000 kilometers on it, and we are the last ones to drive it, so that's pretty exciting. I'm about the last person to drive this car, and the full review will be on the main channel, link in the description. But for now, time is ticking, you guys. It was not raining this morning, and it still isn't, but it's supposed to any second. So we're gonna take in as much of the road as we can. Gorgeous car, new generation. I've got the exhaust on the back, the exhaust mic on the back, but there she is. That big rear end, big wide hips. What a great looking car. I love the way this thing looks. Of course, quad tip exhaust, AMG exhaust. This one's been optioned out, liberally, I would say. So carbon ceramic brakes, the split spoke AMG matte wheels here, 295 wide tires in the front, 305s in the rear, 21s, Pilot Sport 5S. It's just barely warm enough for these tires to do their job. It's about 8.5 degrees out, a little bit warmer than it was this morning, but of course the grill's wider for this generation. There's a whole list of other changes in the full review, but for now, let's just go for a drive. Of course, the same Biturbo 4-liter V8 as was in the previous generation. I'll show you guys that very quickly. 577 horsepower, 590 pound-feet of torque. What would I call that? I would call, oh, hey, there you go. First gen AMG GT. What are the odds? Great minds think alike. There she is. Hot V setup, so the turbos are right there. They're not actually that big, but they are positioned right there, and the engine's set fairly far back, although compared to the first generation, this is not a dry sump, so the engine doesn't sit quite as low, and then it does have a traditional transmission layout, so the transmission is directly just connected to the V8, and so there is quite a big transmission tunnel. What a gorgeous looking car. You know, not quite as much road presence as something like an SLS AMG, but it's so close, and I think it looks way better than the first gen. Of course, they took the front grille kind of from the AMG GTR Black Series, but yeah, you've got a wing that comes up there and a lot of carbon fiber. Let's go drive. Actually, see, I want to show you guys everything because it is meant to kind of be what could be your only car, a good daily driver. Excuse the mess in here. I've got my microfiber. Yeah, quite a big space back here. Actually massive for a grand touring car. This one has not been spec'd with the rear seat, so there's just a little parcel shelf back there. Very practical on the surface. And of course, standard all-wheel drive. That's probably the biggest change when compared to the first gen. We'll quiet it down just for a second while we U-turn, and we are going to start out with a launch. It's got rear steer too, which does help with the turning radius. Now, I just have terrible decision-making skills and always choose the worst spots to do a three-point turn, so that's why it didn't really quite work in our favor right there, but it's still pretty good. Adaptive suspension. It's got a crazy hydraulic anti-roll bar system, which will tighten up and loosen up the anti-roll bars depending on how intense we want to get things. All right. That's in quiet. Sport Plus gets a little bit louder. I am gonna go out on a limb and say we're not gonna get the best launch here because it's a little bit wet on the ground, but we'll see what traction control and all-wheel drive can do. Let's go. Oh my. AMGs do this thing where they tighten the seatbelt so tight, they almost strangle you as you're about to do a launch. I think that's more for dramatic effect, and it works. I mean, oh my, the car is so fast. The torque is really what's pronounced here. I'm not begging to really rev the car out all the way to redline all the time. It's just kind of fun to play with the gears. And the 9-speed. Ooh, Alpha Julia. The 9-speed is incredibly responsive. We're gonna go ahead and put the dampers in comfort, just because it's kind of beating my back up. Definitely get the sense immediately there's some fake exhaust sound or fake engine noise. Oh, coming through the cabin. It's so ridiculously loud. Not so ridiculously loud, but it's certainly loud enough to where, like, I'm glad I have the flaps in the exhaust. I can just go quiet at a moment's notice. This is probably the quickest car with 577 horsepower I've ever driven. All-wheel drive does a great job at keeping it planted. You cannot even get close to the limits of this car on the street. Maybe if it's cold and wet, yeah, you can kind of kick the rear end out a little bit. It's got drift mode. If you had, I don't know, a skid pad, or if you were doing a track day. So they have kept some semblance of insanity here to cater to the real hardcore AMG folks, but I have a sneaking suspicion that most people who buy this car, A, will not be taking it to the track, and B, will not be extracting even close to the level of performance that this thing is capable of. It's just so twitchy and kind of manic, although it does definitely feel heavier than a 911. The only first-gen AMG GT I've ever driven was stanced. It had like an aftermarket body kit and a bright pink wrap. That was in Los Angeles about 6 years ago. So yeah, there was a bunch of rubbing and I didn't really push that thing at all. So cannot give you guys a direct comparison, but yeah, and it is not cheap, okay? So of course this shares the same platform as the SL, the new SL, right? It's just got a fixed roof. In fact, this one actually has a sunroof, which is pretty cool. And it's been spec'd with the AMG Sport bucket seats, which is a welcome addition. They are very snug, but it's a wonderful place to be. I could definitely see myself driving this on a long drive. Not as long as something a little bit more comfortable, like a 911. I feel like the spread between comfort and kind of hardcore precision driving is a little bit broader there. It's a little bit wider in something like a GTS. Now, I have not driven the new, the .2 GTS with the electric turbos, but I did drive a .1, and it could do both very well. I felt it was a little bit more comfortable. Same with the Gran Turismo from Maserati that I recently drove. That video's on the channel as well. But I mean, what did AMG set out to do? They set out to do everything, to be able to accomplish both a GT car feel and something you can take on the track and something that performs with the highest level. Thing is, it feels like somewhere in between, to use the 911 as a comparison, somewhere in between a GT3 RS and a Turbo S. It's kind of in between those, so it's very well rounded, but it doesn't do the best things that the Turbo S does, which is a very long road trip, comfortable, quiet car. Like, the road noise here is not great. And then on the other hand, it's not quite as buckled down, as focused, as balanced, as light as a GT3 RS, which I would not want to daily drive or go on a long journey. So it is the best of both worlds. You could absolutely drive this on a daily basis. It's not really that big. It is big, but rear steer helps with that, all that stuff. So they've done the best they can with the tech to keep the weight and the size in check. It is giving me a warning: check engine oil level at next refueling. Are these engines prone to, is this like a Porsche? Is this gonna burn a bunch of oil? I don't think so, but I don't know why it would be giving me that warning. It's got a few different kind of gauge display options. As you guys know, the menus, I went through that in the full review. I mean, by far the best part about this car is the engine. The engine is so insane. Fairly good response from those turbos too. You do have a second though, like if you were to get into the throttle and then just as you're doing that, you see a police officer up ahead, you have time to back out and the car hasn't like shot off like a slingshot yet. So if I just justified Mercedes going to twin turbos, which they did a long time ago, then that was exactly what that was. But there you go, you guys. Sharp, dialed, very competent AMG GT63 AMG. Yeah, this one, having not been spec'd with the back seats, I think this is the move. If you want the four-door AMG GT, just know, yeah, it's got this, not quite the same straight level speed, or straight line speed, but it has the sounds, it has brutal torque just like this does. But I would do without the four seats. I think that car is even more like too well-rounded. I don't see a point in that car. And they killed the CLS, which is unfortunate. I would either just go S-Class, I guess, or just go all out GT63. Yeah, anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you on the next one.